Greetings YouTube and welcome to my latest build, which is not a weapon. This is my aluminum V-block, which I love with all my heart. This makes drilling circular objects like this so much easier. It even makes it easier to do the diagonal drills on like a baluster, because I can put the baluster in here, which fits like this, and I can come right down on the edge. I didn't purchase it for that purpose, but it did turn out that way. I have one build where that was very useful. And I had this piece of here. This is actually a piece of a table. I got it for nothing. But as an example, that's about the biggest diameter I think I'm ever going to have to really contend with. So that gives me roughly a clearance of about 4 inches from here to the table, you know, give or take. And one of the things I do, I don't just drill single holes. A lot of the times when I'm drilling tubes, I'm drilling the holes that I need to be in line. Now what I normally do with that is I put a pin in the first hole that I've done, and then I use a gauge which gives me the angle. It's that gauge right there, which gives me the angle, and then I come off of that. So it's accurate, but it's not convenient, and everything moves, you know what I mean? It's just not a very comfortable way of doing the whole drilling process. Then I remembered something. When I used to work at another company, it was called Cushcraft, and it was a standing drill press, but it was a drill press. This is a drill press nonetheless, and the other one was a bigger. This is a half horsepower. I think the one I had was a full horsepower. We had a channel like this, but it was 9 feet long. So it went about a foot past the drill here, and then it went 8 feet in the other direction. And I would put tubes in there, and I would drill them all day long, because there were things that we had to drill that had to be done by hand in that manner. We had machines that were designed to drill multiple holes at once for other jobs, but there were times that I had to do individual pieces. That's what I would use. And when I did that, I had a guide pin, and the guide pin was shaped like this. It was 2 vertical supports. I believe it was all aluminum stock. I think it was 1 1/4 by 1 inch thick. It was just some stock that the guy in the shop had, and he put it together so that it would look like this, and then there was a pin that came right down the center all the way down, so it would sit in the bottom of the channel, or just shy of the bottom of the channel. I think it might have hit the bottom of the channel, because I think he'd put a radius on the tip, so it would actually sit in the V in the bottom. So I could drill a hole, I'd drop that pin in there, the pin would then go through the first hole I'd done, and then the second hole would be perfectly in line with the first one. And I'm like, well, I can do that. So what I'm going to do, these 2 pieces right here are 80/20 material. I don't know if you've ever seen this stuff. This is a marvel of engineering. This is one of the greatest things that has ever been done for fixturing in the history of the world. I'm not joking. This stuff is beautiful. I love this stuff. And the best of all, with these 3 pieces you're looking at right here, I got them for nothing. They're scrap. So the beautiful thing about this is it's called 80/20 because it has 20% of the weight, but 80% of the strength of a solid piece of aluminum tubing, stock aluminum. And it's got all these wonderful little spots on it where you can fit things. There's an entire plethora of accessories you get, which you can slide in here, tighten things down, and you get the kind of connection you need for building things. And you can have holes. I think one of these, yeah. One of these had a hole. I don't think it was ever used for anything, but this was, you can drill a hole, and you can put fixtures in there. You can do anything you want with this stuff. It's incredibly beautiful, and it's not cheap, which is why I'm glad I got it for free. But it's very regular. It's 1 1/2 by 1 1/2. Everything is nice and square. It's straight, so it's great to work with. So what I'm going to do is I just got lucky, and these 2 pieces are already the length I need. I don't have to do anything to those as far as cutting is concerned. And I'm going to cut this piece so that it's just a smidge wider than this, so that there's a little bit of, wiggle room. I don't want to have it too tight. So I'm going to have it just a little bit wider than this thing, and that will let me move it around. And then I'm going to drill holes horizontally and then tap these holes and just bolt the thing together. Boom, boom, boom. Done. I will use, just because I want a lot of rigidity, so I'm going to use bolts from the outside that go all the way, that go through, and I'm going to use fender washers on the outside, because again, I'm looking for a lot of squareness here, so I don't need to have them in here. I don't want to have just this much guiding everything. I want this much guiding everything. Now this is a hole which is 0.205, which is a little bit tighter than you want for a 1/4 20 hole, but not a lot tighter, like 10 or 12 thousandths of an inch. So what I'm going to try doing is I'm going to deburr this, because it's got burrs on it, because the person that cut this used, I think, a bandsaw. If you're familiar with cutting metal, they have saws that are designed for cutting. It's basically just a continual bandsaw. You just drop the thing on there and let it go, and the weight of the object goes and cuts right through it. It's not fast, but it's accurate. It's easy. It doesn't take any effort on the part of the person that's doing the job. You turn it on, you drop the thing on, you turn it on, you walk away. You literally walk away, and when it cuts all the way through the material, it turns itself off. It's awesome. I don't have one. I'd like to get one someday. They're kind of bulky. So I am going to use my chop saw, which is designed for wood, but the aluminum is actually not that different when it comes to the cutting characteristics of wood. And since I'm not going to be doing a lot of it, I'm not too concerned about it. In fact, we used to use toothed saw blades, toothed carbide saw blades at my old job for cutting lots of aluminum. And the only downside is you had to occasionally go in there and you'd actually have to take the aluminum out that would get wedged between the teeth, because the chips would actually melt themselves between the teeth. So I would have to go in there and tink, 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 and chip it all out. Kind of tedious, but you know, it is what it is. So this should be a fairly straightforward project. 1 cut, 2 holes, and 2 taps. I'm going to try tapping it just as it is and see what happens. Now, interesting, I haven't tapped a hole in 30 years. So let's see if I remember how to do it correctly. That'll be fun. Then it's bolting it together and we're finished. Because it's a single hole here, right in the middle. You know, I mean, this is not a complex thing. And again, I'll be using fender washers. I'll be using 1/4 20 threaded rod, not only because I have lots of it, and I like the stuff, but because it means I can move the pin up and down. So I'm going to design it so it can go all the way to the flat here, but I'll be lifting it up so it sits there when I'm actually using the channel. But there may be occasions when I want to have it going all the way to the table, so why not design it so it can go all the way down to the to the base. Alrighty, so let's get my chop saw set up once I figure out the width I want, and then we're going to do a cut, and then we're going to try doing some tapping. This should be fun. Alright, so this may look a little on the hinky side, but we're going to try something. I've got the block in here that I need to cut clamped in place, but this is a small block. I can't use the clamp that comes with the saw because the clamp is designed for cutting lumber, so I can't do that. It's only 5.5, 6 inches long. So I've got it clamped this way, but I also want to apply force this way. Since I am not stupid and I don't want to put my hand in here, I made myself a push stick. So I'm going to be able to do this downward in that direction when I cut this. And I got it clamped to the table, and now it's just giving it a shot and see what happens. I got my hearing protection on, so let's see what happens. Did it? Shoot, I did not get all the way through that. Alright, I'm going to do it one more time, see if I get a little better. I got aluminum chips everywhere, which I kind of sort of expected. But Didn't do a horrible job. I mean, I'm gonna have to clean it up some, but it did the job, and I'm not dead. Let's see how close I am to my measurement. I'm a smidge over 4 inches, which is just fine. I wanted 4 inches, and I'm 4 and an eighth. I can live with 4 and an eighth. That's fine with me. Alrighty, so now I need to clean this up, and then I need to start working on tapping it, see if I can tap it. Because I think I can tap this just as it is. If I can't, I may have to open it up 10 thou, and then try tapping it again. So that's the next thing we're going to do. Alrighty, so I got myself the block set up in my Miller's Falls V-line vise. I have a 1/4-20 tap here, and I have this really nice handle, which is actually, I picked this up years ago. It was really pretty. I think I picked it up at an estate sale, and it's just a nice tap. It's made in the USA. In case for the folks out there that are into into American tools. We're gonna put a little oil on this puppy. This is just standard 3-in-1 oil. Oh, wow, that is not the right size. That is not the right size. That's supposed to be 204. That is not 204. 205 rather. That is not the right size for a 1/4-20. Ah. So now I gotta figure out what the heck size that is. Isn't that fun? Oh, I got grease all over my damn, oil over to my damn tap for no reason. Alrighty. Now I gotta figure what that hole is, and then we'll come back with the correct size tap. I shall return. And we're back. So I looked this up online to figure out what these holes were, but apparently there are different varieties of 80/20, because that hole is not, the hole right here is not 205, that is 263 roughly. I'm using a pair of vernier calipers to measure that, so it's not perfect. So that actually comes out to being a 5/16 by 5/16 by 18 thread. So that's what we're going to try. We're going to try a 5/16. I've got a 5/16 tap here. And it's amazing for a guy that hasn't done any tapping in 30 years. I actually have a complete tap set. I kind of plan for these kind of things in the future. So let's see if I can get this to tap for me. I know it's riveting, isn't it? Watching someone tap a hole. I haven't done this in a very long time. I would be using my vise to do this. My vise is currently holding my camera. So that's why I'm using this, which is not perfect because my vise is a little bit more mobile than I'd like. But my bench vise is currently being used to hold the camera. So. Thankfully, I'm tapping aluminum. I can remember having to tap a steel table. Oh, was that nerve-wracking? Because if you break a tap off in a steel table, getting that tap out is a pain in the butt. Getting it out of aluminum is much less of a hassle than trying to get a broken tap out of steel. A bit more oil, and then that's like I said, that's just standard 3-in-1 oil. You can buy that at Walmart. Literally, the last container I bought, I've got a new container over there, so it's almost out. I bought it at Walmart. Thready looking. Now I know you'll see people like putting bits in drills and just go reefing their way through it. I really don't like that. It makes me very nervous when I see people doing that. So all I see is taps breaking off, and that's not a good thing. So check and see how my thread situation is going. Not too bad. I'm gonna have to clean this, I think. Yeah. All right. So now I know what size I need. So I don't need to have you watch that anymore, because I'm now going to move this over to my bench vise, which won't move. To show you this, I don't need to do the whole darn thing. You get the point. So I need to tap this all the way through on both ends, so that I can put a 5/16 18 bolt to hold this whole thing together. So that's the next thing I do. As exciting as it is, at least I'll get to listen to the radio when I'm not filming. So this is now tapped and deburred. We're all happy with it. I'm all happy with it, I should say. And this is what I started with because it's small and easy to use. But I branched out into this. This is my heavy hitter. This is a big, beefy tap handle. And the funny thing is that this is handmade. This was made by some dude someplace in his shop. Okay, this is not a commercial item. And I purchased this at a flea market years ago before I realized that the white nationalists ran those things. And when I bought it from the guy, he was an older dude, probably got 20 years on me. And he asked me, he said, "You know what this is?" Now, I've bought many tools from older guys, and whenever they ask me the question, "Do you know what this is?" it's always to see if I'm purchasing an item that I understand its use, or am I an ignorant, newbie? Am I a noob? So I said, "Yeah, it's a tap handle. It's a homemade tap handle, but it's a tap handle." He said, "Oh, I never knew what it was," which cracked me up. You're selling this? I paid $10 for it when it's well worth $10, and it's really, really comfortable to use. I'm really happy I have it. And yes, I did buy this many years before I ever had to tap anything, because that's the kind of person I am. Just like I bought this one for smaller tapping. So I started with this one because it's really nice and handy, and then I moved to that one because that is much easier to use because you get more leverage. So this is all tapped. I've also cleaned it out. I took it upstairs and washed it, so degreased it. So now I need to deburr these as well. Then I need to drill a hole 5/16 of an inch, 3/4 of an inch in from the end, because this stuff is 1.5 inches long. And that will then give me the location for the through hole, which I will then use for the bolt to put this together. Then after that is done, I'm going to go work on figuring out the exact center for this, because I need it to be exactly in the middle. That'll make my life so much easier. Find the exact middle, and that's where I'm going to drill the hole for the 1/4-20. Alrighty, so we're almost done. 3 more holes, and I'm finished. All of my holes are drilled. One of the disadvantages of working with this stuff is that when you're drilling, you're starting on a flat, which is nice, but then you're going into an open space, then you're going into a curve. Drill bits don't like that. That transition from a straight to a curve, every single hole I had here bound up the drill bit at least once, even though I was going very slowly, because I knew I was going to hit that curve. Yeah, it was a pain in the butt, but the holes are all done. This is in the center, as close as I could conceivably get it without using a mill, which I don't have. And these are the same distance at least. And oddly, when I put them, I set these up at a stop, like this right here. I use this. I don't know what this is. I use it as a stop. Well, I picked this up at an estate sale. I don't know what it's supposed to be, but that's how I use it. I put it in there to just, you get an idea where that hole was, and it was 3/4 of an inch. It was as close to 3/4 of an inch as I needed it to be, just by eye. So apparently I've got a good eye still. That's good to know. When I used to build antennas, I was able to use a tape measure, a tape measure just like that, and I could get holes in my aluminum booms for the antennas within plus or minus 0.1 of an inch, just using a tape measure, because I did it every day. That was my job, measuring things and making sure the holes were where they were supposed to go. So I got really good with that. Okay, now it's time to assemble this. And once I have it assembled, then I'll figure out how long I want to make my 1/4-20 piece, because I'm not going to know that for sure until I have it assembled, because it's easier just to physically check it than have to worry about having to cut it. You know what I mean? So yeah, we're just going to do that. I also have to go dig up some fender washers, which I forgot to get. I already got nuts, but I have to get some fender washers there in another container. So, assembly, and then the pin, and then we'll be done, and hopefully I can show you how this thing works. So here we go. There's my guide pin, and it's going to go like that. I've currently got it set up so that it is just shy of the bottom of this, so that it's not touching. And now I'm going to set my V-block up, and my V-channel rather, and we're going to try drilling a hole, and I'm going to show you how it works. Alrighty, so I just got this piece of scrap wood. I don't even remember where it was from. I'm actually going to be smarter than that because I've had too many accidents in the past not to be smarter than that. So I'm just going to hold this by hand because it's just wood. Now, I take my through hole, I'm going to put my pin through here. Now I can get, how close can I get? I can get that close right there. And there we go. We have two holes which are now perpendicular to each other. Not perpendicular, in line with each other, parallel to each other, sorry, not perpendicular. Now, perpendicularity, that's going to be difficult. I still have to figure out how to create a pin that will do the 90 degrees, because that's what I often do. 90 to each other is a common drilling process for me. The difficulty with that is that every diameter of tube is going to have a different distance, so I have to come up with something that will come across horizontally and be truly horizontal to the plane in question, but will be adjustable, because I don't want to have to make, you know, one for every diameter. So I want something that's going to be adjustable for the process. So I am thoroughly happy with my block. It may not be as elegant as the one I used to use back when I worked at Cushcraft, but it does the job. This is adjustable, so I can make it go up and down. It'll come all the way down, so it's just shy of the surface of this, which is good. I don't need to go all the way down. You don't want it to touch this thing. So yeah, I'm very happy with this. This is going to make my life much easier. Now I realize that it's a 1/4 20, but in the event that I need to make a bigger hole, and sometimes I do 5/16, as you saw, sometimes I use 3/8, I mean, sometimes I even go up to 1/2 inch on projects, I can just open that up. You know what I mean? But once they are parallel, opening up the hole to a larger diameter is not an issue. But yeah, just having this is going to make my life much simpler and speed up the drilling process on a number of projects, which frankly is going to be a blessing from the gods. Alrighty, so thank you for being here today. I greatly appreciate it. If you don't follow me on Instagram and DeviantArt, you should, because I post pictures of my projects. I post bargain stuff. These were in my these were in a picture of bargain stuff. I post, of course, I post cute cat pictures, because who doesn't love cute cat pictures? Alrighty, folks, thanks for being here. I hope you enjoyed yourself, and I hope you come back for the next one.